Coroner last released a record 30 years ago, and yet they still have 6 figures monthly Spotify listeners. Most bands release singles and EPs on the regular and can't reach that many people. So why is Coroner special? Well, I think that they were way ahead of their time and people remember them fondly. They were doing things that no other thrash bands were doing in the late 80s and early 90s. Some people called them the rush of thrash metal. And here we are, 30 years later, they're finally releasing a new record. I got an early preview of the album Dissonance Theory available this Friday, October the 17th, and I can confirm there's still nobody out there like Coroner. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from the man himself, and he'll explain why it took so long to get a new album and the lengths that they went to still be fresh today. You'll find out all about it on episode 240 of Heavy Metal Philosophy. Tommy from Coroner, welcome to Heavy Metal Philosophy.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. This is a very exciting time. 30 years after your last Coroner record, we've got a new record coming out. It's very exciting, and I definitely want to focus this episode on the new record. But of course, first I have to ask you, 30 years, that's a long time. Does that put a lot of pressure on this release?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe that's why I put my priorities on different things, maybe because I was afraid a little bit. I think it took like 10 years to do this album after we signed the contract. And I think there was I had a bit of a procrastination problem maybe. And that was one of the reasons maybe. The other thing was maybe, that's my job here. I work with music all day, and in the evening I sometimes just hate music, so it was hard to find time to relax and write new stuff.
Interesting. So because you work in a studio, it's just music from the time you wake up until time you clock out. So when you make it your job like that, you're saying sometimes you want to just get away from it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Music, when you write music is everywhere, but you have to be in silence to reach it. So if it's loud all day, it's not possible to write good stuff, I think.
So let me clarify. I said it's been 30 years, and correct me if I get any of my facts wrong. It's 1993's Grin, but you actually had a hiatus from the band and y'all got back together in 2010. So it's not like it's not like you've waited 30 years. It's like you said, it's more like 10 years.
Yeah. We reunited 2011.
2011. Okay.
The idea was just to play a few shows, and we never talked about an album. And after 2 years, Marky left the band because he had enough, and for Ron and me, it was just too much fun. We wanted to go on.
So when did the talks about doing new music? Because it sounds like you just wanted to play live and have a good time. But then at some point you decided, well, maybe we do want to do some new music. Yeah,
you can't play always the same songs for 10 years, so we had to write something new. Sony Central Media, they offered us a deal, and we signed that in 2014 or 15. And then kind of life came into the way, like people died, and I got through a divorce, and COVID happened, and I had this procrastination problem probably, and stuff like that. And we really worked hard on this album. Like out of 50 riffs, maybe one made it on the album. So
wow.
Yeah, I wanted to have everything like perfect this time,
Hmm. Well,
So what's the reason nowadays to write an album? You know, I mean, there's yeah, there's not a lot of money in it and stuff. So we wrote it just for ourselves, I guess.
I can hear what you're saying in the record too. That there's no filler on this record. I could tell that you really spent a lot of time on here and that you selected all of your best stuff because it's got this flow to it. At no point did I ever go, okay, it's dragging here. No, everything from the beginning to the end is just exciting, fresh, which
Mhm.
is sort of meeting my expectations because Coroner was so fresh back in the 90s. And then like what's it going to sound like in 2025? Still sounds fresh to me. And I went back and listened to Grin to get ready for this interview and I just listened to it and sit there and think, wow, this was way ahead of its time. So and then
Thanks a
here we
lot.
are,
Thanks.
2025, the new record, and it still sounds fresh. So I feel like those 10 years that you spent being really picky must have been worth it.
Yeah, I agree. It's to me, it's the first album we did that I'm 100% happy with everything. You know, like everything is there for a purpose. Like the lyrics, they 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 fit. You know, if the music goes crazy, there's something happening with the lyrics at the same time and stuff like that. And yeah, in the past. We always had a lot of time pressure in the studio and stuff, but this time we could work until we everybody was happy.
Well, that was the next question I was going to ask is if you were happy with it. Sounds like you are. That's great to hear. And you brought up the lyrics. That brings me to the next part of the show I wanted to talk to you about because this is, of course, a heavy metal show, heavy metal philosophy, but we also talk about philosophy here. So I went through the lyrics and right away, and longtime subscribers to the show are going to immediately know what I'm talking about. These lyrics jumped out to me on the opening song "Consequence." Disgraced by our free will, compulsive button pushing. Now, people that know me know that I'm obsessed with the concept of free will versus determinism. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, here we go. But then I read the lyrics, and to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but this song seems to me an indictment of what social media and the internet in general is doing to us.
Yeah, kind of. It's more about AI a little
Mm.
bit, like, you know. I mean, I have to tell you, maybe first we needed some help with the lyrics because everybody in the band wrote some and they were okay, but I wasn't happy with it. So I asked my good friend Dennis Ross, who is American. He's my best friend. We work here in studio a lot together. The problem is, you know, if English is not your mother language,
Mhm.
it's really hard to say something halfway intelligent, you know. Um, so the lyrics we wrote by ourselves weren't bad, but for me they didn't have the weight the music deserved. So Dennis helped a lot. He wrote two lyrics, and then we asked Krishinda Lee Everett. She's an American writer. She writes a book about Coroner at the moment, and we had a lot of interviews together. I met her 3 times. She's a very smart person, and we asked her if she could contribute something, and that worked out great.
So she's writing a book about Corner. Do you know the release date yet?
Not yet. No, she was busy writing lyrics all
Okay.
the
Well,
time.
I'll keep in touch with your PR and hopefully I'll get my hands on that book because I do a monthly book recommendation on this
All
show as well.
right.
So I would love to
Awesome.
get my hands on that book.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the lyrics were really important because, I mean, there's a lot of bands, you know, singing about slaying dragons and stuff. It's okay, you know, it's
Yeah.
just entertainment. It's okay, but because it's not a fit for us, I guess, you know. So I'm really happy how everything turned out.
another lyric on Consequence that stood out to me, and since you say it's about AI, it sort of changes my perception of it. It says, no fun, no fun. This is no fun. This isn't what we thought. Too smart for our own good. True stupidity. So I've been saying for a while now that I thought the internet was going to save us as humanity because we'd have access to all of the world's information where we were blind before. But I feel like I was wrong in that we've got access to all the world's bullshit and it's actually made us dumber. But now knowing that the
Yeah,
song
I
is
agree.
about AI, it puts a new spin on that lyric to me because I feel that that is also making us dumber.
Absolutely. It's hard to tell nowadays if those news are fake or real, you know, especially people who get their information only from Facebook and Instagram, you know, that's dangerous. And AI can be great for some stuff, you know, helps you write emails and stuff. And on the other hand, people will lose jobs, and it's dangerous.
Yeah. And the thing that I want to point out is it lies. It lies all the time. So when it first came out, I've always prided myself on I'm going to stay abreast of all the new technology. I'm not going to be that guy that gets older and refuses to accept the new things. I don't want to be a luddite, you know. So I when it first came out, I forced myself like, okay, I'm going to experiment with this and not be that guy. And so I put it in the prompt. It's like, okay, write me this summary of Metallica's career just to see what it would do. And it spit out a bunch of quotes that James Hetfield said that he never actually said. And that's when I realized it's like, oh, this thing is designed to make sentences that make sense. It's not designed to tell the truth.
No.
And so I really discourage people from searching for things and then accepting what the AI says. The AI is only trying to give you a sentence that makes sense. And at my day job, I work with engineers, and when they say, "Oh, ChatGPT told me this," I'm like, "Oh, please don't use that.
Nah.
Don't trust ChatGPT for the tensile strength of steel. Like we want to actually know what the real data is."
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to Sacrificial Lamb. I thought this one was pretty interesting because the first lyrics, "Fear not, little flock, the kingdom is yours until I will come." This made me think of the coming of the Messiah. But then later in the song, it says, "You'd have to be a moron not to see it, or a fanatic. I'm as much an enemy of humanity as any." And that made me go, oh, okay, is this a different take on the Messiah's return?
No, it's actually about a mass murder.
Oh,
You know, a mass murder, um, like that guy Breivik in Norway. You know, who went to this island to kill kids. In his mind, in his eyes, he is the sacrificial lamb. That's he's a martyr. He thinks he's doing something good for mankind.
that's interesting. That's a different twist than I'd imagine. So, uh, during this segment, I will put on the screen pictures of the guy and the articles so people can look into that
Okay.
more.
Okay. Yeah, I could. I mean, you know, like discussing lyrics is like Marky said in the past. You know, it's stupid to explain lyrics because it's like reading a book. You know, if you read a book, you make your own movie in your head, and then when
Yeah.
the movie comes out, mostly it sucks. You know, so.
Yeah, that I always find it an interesting exercise because of exactly what you say. Like when there's experiences that I have, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian home, so I'm
Okay.
sure that led me to have that interpretation. And whatever our individual experiences are, when we read lyrics, we're going to bring ourselves to that interpretation. So I always love talking to the artists because either I nail it, I'm completely wrong, you know, or sometimes people don't want to give the full interpretation. They want to leave it up to the
Yeah, well,
listener.
I think that's great. Everyone can make his own interpretation. I think that's an interesting thing, and you have been close with everything so far, anyway.
Ah, thank you. So the next song on the album is Christian Bound. And this again makes me think about free will. So, no restriction. He knows its own way. Flame to final intention. Don't worry about it. Cosmos. And this is one of the things about free will that I always think about is everything in the cosmos is bound to the laws of physics. And if we can explain things mathematically, that means we can predict future movements. Is this inevitability of the cosmos sort of a theme on this song?
This song is about Jack Parson. He was a rocket scientist, and he was very much interested in occultism. It's a crazy thing, and he exploded at the end in his house. You have to Google it. It's a crazy story. It's just about him and his life and his craziness. He was a total genius, but that combined with this occult stuff he liked, that is really weird.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'll put that on the screen as well. I do find that really weird for somebody to be a rocket scientist to do that kind of work. You have to not believe bullshit. Like the things.
Yeah.
The things in the experiments have to follow a methodology and they have to be explainable. So then to be into the occult as well is a really strange combination.
It is. Yeah. It's weird.
The next song is Symmetry. And to me, I got a lot of, again, social media caring about what you look like and caring what people think you look like. And so the lyrics that stood out to me on that song is measure of all things. I'm going to mispronounce my Latin. It's terrible. Isle ego sum, which is I am or that I am. And then the next line, measure of anything but Isla ego sum, which is, so it's the measure of all things, but it's the measure of all things except for me, which I think is an interesting turn there in the chorus.
Yeah. This song obviously is about narcissism. Is that the word in English?
Yes.
Yeah, I know a few of them.
Then the next song, The Law. Now make no mistake, a pure heart weighs the same as foul, rotten meat. The outcome is death to you too. And this to me makes me think about the amorality of law, not just man-made law, but laws of nature. They don't care about ethics. They just do what they do. But then later in the song comes the twist. Above you, finger on the scales, your heart weighs as much as I decide. So that to me says that something is corrupting the system and making it unfair.
You have a very interesting interpretation of everything, I must say. Yeah, it's just like a very powerful person who thinks that he is the law and everything he says is the truth. But truth is not the same for everybody. You have your own truth, I have mine, and this could be every person. This could be your president, or it could be Vladimir Putin, or whoever.
Yeah, there's a lot of hands on the scales. It's impossible to know them all.
Yeah.
So the next song, Transparent Eye, I want to ask a more musical question, not so much the lyrics. In the riff, there's a chug that happens that descends, but to my ears, I can't hear. It doesn't sound to me like you're sliding, descending on the guitar. It doesn't sound like you're fretting a lower note. It just smoothly descends, almost like if you're playing a keyboard, you can roll that knob and change the pitch. So there's no attack.
Absolutely.
It's just how did you do that on guitar?
Yeah, I played it with my right hand like this, and with the left I have the vibrato bar in my hand.
Okay.
and I go down very and yeah, the problem was like overdubbing the bass to that. So we had the bass doesn't have any vibrato, so we had to do it with the tuners.
Aha.
It was kind of hard to get in sync. So I don't know if we can do that live. If there is pedals that do something similar, we have to check that out.
Are you opposed to playing with tracks live?
What, like playback tracks?
Yes.
No. We never want to do that. We have Daniel on stage. He can play all the samples, the keyboards we have on the album, but no. I don't think that's what will fit us. It's not. It's against our old school vibe, pride.
Yeah. I I always find it interesting different bands' positions on that because it really is. It's like you say, it's for if it's for us or not. You know, I've had like Insight on, and they're a very old school, dirty rock and roll band. So of course, to them, it doesn't fit. But then you take a band like Septic Flesh that's orchestral. It's like, of course, they have to.
Yeah. They of course they can't bring the whole orchestra. I mean, for several reasons, of course. But yeah, I think it wouldn't fit. You know, we don't even play to a click live because we like to play the things a bit different every night. We have parts that are improvised and they're not the same length. We play and then somebody makes a sign or something, you know, to keep stuff interesting. I think to me it would be pretty boring to play every night the same set with the same length and everything. So
Yeah, makes sense. So the next song, Trinity, this one, to me, it's pretty obvious it's about a nuclear bomb or nuclear war of some sort because the first line I saw is Santa Glass Mushroom Cloud. But then
yeah.
Another twist in here that I wanted to ask you about is later in the song, it says, "We'll meet again. Goodbye with a smile. Some sunny day, it won't be long. We'll meet again." So is there's so many different interpretations I could have here. Like this is somebody saying goodbye, or maybe it's, hey, yeah, this is extinction, but you know, the cycle of existence will turn again. Do you have
Yeah. I that would be my interpretation as well. Yeah, I think some are quotes from Oppenheimer, I think. You know, we grew up here in Europe. Like there was always like in Switzerland, we all have bunkers, you know, were built in that time, like the where when the Cold War happened, you know, everybody was afraid of that, and nowadays it's it's close again to this feeling, you know.
Yeah. I grew up a big thrash head, you know, Metallica and so I actually discovered them in the 90s, so I had to go back and listen to all that old thrash and became a big fan, and so much of it was about nuclear war. And of course it made sense because it was made during the Cold War, but that seemed like, oh, that was back then. And now as a grown up living in today's time, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I couldn't just dismiss it because it isn't just back then. History has a tendency to repeat itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interestingly enough, the next song after that, Renewal, to me, it starts off like the aftermath of a locust swarm, but in my mind, it's actually more than just that physical occurrence because there's the words, you take what remains, you got to take what remains, meaning, yeah, this thing happened, but now we have to move on. Like it's terrible
Absolutely.
that the locusts killed the crops, but now we have to work with what we have. And there's a line, again, brings me back to Free Will again, says, face off with fate.
You got that one perfect. You know, it could be like a post-apocalyptic scenario, you know, but in the video clip, it's about a person who has like really bad OCD, You know, at the end, it's just about fears we all have, and like everybody has OCD to a certain degree, but like people who have that like really bad, they have a hard time to live their lives, you know. So and they have to find like a way out, and
You have to
yeah,
take what remains and face off with fate.
exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. And then the last song on the record, Prolonging, an instrumental. And on this one, you had an organ, which I thought was so cool. A part of me wondered, well, why didn't they use this very like this prominently on the rest of the record? And then another part of me was like, but it makes this last song really stand out. It's kind of cool that it's just here.
Yeah, I mean that's the end of the record. It's Prolonging is the outro of Renewal, and I just wanted to sound it like crazy, like the world is like gonna up everything, and we record a lot of noises and stuff, and then I had the idea for like a Hammond. I just heard that sound in my head, and I asked because I have a real Hammond here in the Leslie, and Dennis is a great piano player, and I asked him, "Hey, dude, how about like an organ solo in here?" And oh no, I didn't play it for 20 years. But at the end, he went in and played this fantastic solo, and I love it. You know, it's crazy good.
Yeah, it definitely caps off the record in a nice way. And that actually, you said it's the outro to Renewals. That gives it a whole new spin in my mind. I look forward to listening to it again with that. You take what remains, face off with fate in my mind, and then hear the vibe of the music that follows it. That's going to be an interesting mental exercise to do.
Yeah, we just gave it um, a name. It was this the song actually was one song, like Renewal and Prolonging, and we cut it in half. It looks better on the record, you know, one more song.
Probably easier to release them that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been way too long for the first single, you know, together with the outro. So we made it like that.
And speaking of singles, so you guys got back together in 2011 and you're playing shows. And of course, over time, people are going to ask you in interviews, hey, are y'all going to come out with a new album? And you're like, yeah, maybe. And so there was always rumors about a new Coroner album, but then they sort of don't materialize. But then this year, you guys released some singles, and then like the people started talking like, I think this thing's real this time. I think that we're really going to get a new Coroner record. Have you felt that excitement from releasing these singles?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like especially the reactions of the fans. You know, because after all these years, you never know. You know, maybe people go, "Oh no, it's not the same anymore. That sucks." And I'm first of all, I was happy I was finished finally with the whole thing, and yeah, now it's great to hear all the reactions. We're really happy about it.
How long has the record been finished in the can?
Nothing since March this year.
And so from March to September, it's time to do promo. Releases October 17th.
Yes.
So March to October 17th, got your promo period. Is there plans to tour?
Yeah, we have a new management since March, and that's why we're a bit behind. But we also have a new booking agency in Europe and one in America for the rest of the world, and they work really hard at the moment. We just have a few festivals confirmed yet, but there's a lot in the pipeline.
Awesome. Well, I will put the links to your socials and everything so that people that want to catch you can follow and see where you're going to be. And if you guys come to Atlanta, I'll be there. I would absolutely be thrilled.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah. So Friday, October the 17th, Coroner, Dissonance Theory. Everybody get it. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. I'm really excited.
Thank you so much for this interview.